Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then hi, my name is Caitlin, welcome. And today I'm going to be doing a huge eyeshadow collection and kind of mini declutter as well. I'm not going to be getting rid of like half of my collection because, to be honest, I am kind of emotionally attached to my eyeshadow collection, not gonna lie. And I did also do a huge declutter last year. So I started this year with a vastly reduced collection. If you wanted a really cutthroat declutter, I will leave that video in the cards. It is a year old, but if you need that itch scratching, that one will definitely do it more than this one. This video is going to be very chill. I have been on a no-buy this year, so I haven't been bringing in loads of eyeshadow palettes, so I've just been getting to know these palettes and getting to love them a little bit. All of the palettes that I talk about today have been bought with my own money, so obviously that means it is a little bit harder to declutter them. But just before we do jump into the video, if you have not already, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I do a lot of project panning on this channel, so that means a lot of these palettes will be very loved, very used and abused, and that is exactly how I like them. Alright then, let's jump into it without further ado. Oh, okay. So I'm going to start with this big box full of smaller palettes. I'll throw this one in there as well. So this is, as you can see, all of my Colourpop. Some Revolution ones are here. I've got a Nabla and then a few Huda and a few other bits and bobs. So let's go through these. Okay, so first we have my main squeeze palette. It matches my nails perfectly. Look at these. And this is what it looks like inside. So you can see we have one pan in here. I really want to get into red eyeshadow just because I think it'll look really nice with my blue eyes. I've had that thought for a while, but unfortunately I've not been able to play around with this as much as I thought I would this year. But it is in the back of my mind. I really do want to play around. Oh my god, there are hairs everywhere. I really want to play around with this palette, get more love on it, so that is staying. Next is my Orange You Glad palette. These all look pretty beaten and bruised, not gonna lie. But this on the inside looks pretty brand new and I don't like that. I want to roll this in to a Pan Those Eyeshadows sometime, or maybe a No Pan Left Behind. It has been in a No Pan Left Behind before and I really did enjoy it. So hopefully in the summer or even in the spring, I'll be able to get good use out of this. It's a really nice mix between neutral and colour, and that's what I really love, so I'm going to keep that. Next is the Aha Honey palette. As you can see, super fun, vibrant yellows. I love using yellow as an accent colour with my eyeshadow. I do love blue eyeshadow, so yellow obviously goes perfectly with blue. And yellow also goes really nicely with neutrals as well. So if you're looking for a little bit of a fun accent, I would definitely recommend yellow. I do reach into this quite a bit. I remember Totally Buggin' was in a Pan Those Eyeshadows series, and believe it or not, I've used this 15 times. Like, you cannot see it all. So that's staying. Again, this declutter, you know, it's more of a collection with a mini declutter sprinkled in because I do love my eyeshadow palettes. So just my luck. This is what this palette looks like. You can see I have two pans in here, one in Charmed and one in Mary Jane. I do love Mary Jane a hell of a lot. Green is one of those colors I don't reach for too often, but I do like these palettes are just staples, so they're staying. Next, this is in a Pan Those Eyeshadows right now. So the shade is this shade here called Flora. And as you can see, this is a teal palette. It's the High Tide, and teal is something I definitely do reach for. I don't go for green, but I do go for teal and blue. So this is definitely a palette that I really want to get love on next year. So you can see this shade down here, Luna, has a massive dip in it. That makes me so happy. This has been discontinued now, which I hate, but I'm glad that I have it. I'm glad I got it while I could. This is the Frozen 2 Elsa palette. And this is probably one that I could get rid of, but I am not going to because this shade is so stunning, this glitter. It's called Flurry and I use it on my nails quite a lot. Honestly, amazing. This silver's stunning. The blue, obviously, I love. I did do a No Pan Left Behind with this and it just made me fall in love with it. So, staying. You already know that this one is staying. I'll be buried with this. I want to get more love on this again. I'm thinking of rolling this into a project level up quite soon, just because I do want more pans in this. This is the only pan. This is the shade Clued In, but I need more pans because this looks way too unloved and I hate that. So blue is my favorite color to wear on my eyes, so this is obviously staying. Next, It's My Pleasure. This again is one that I probably could declutter, but again, all these Colourpop palettes are just staples. Like if I don't know what to do, or I know I want to play with a specific color, I'll reach for one of these. To be fair, Sleeper has a massive dip in it. Pretty Cruel also has a massive dip in it, so that's really, really good. I am hoping to get more pans in this. I'm thinking of my project level up in 2024 will be focused on my Colourpop palettes. I think that would be a really, really good idea. Really challenging, because Colourpop shades are really hard to hit pan on, but I think it'd be a really interesting idea because a lot of my Colourpop palettes do kind of sit there a little bit, which is sad. Next is one that I unexpectedly fell in love with this year. This is the Making Moves palette, and it was again in a No Pan Left Behind. And you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of pinks, but these are quite nice neutral pinks. They're not too in your face pinks. So again, I'd love to have this in a project level up very, very soon. I think I'm definitely going to focus on my Colourpop palettes. So far this video, it has definitely inspired me to do my Colourpop palettes next year. I'm going to focus on my Colourpop palettes because they've not been focused on this year. Next was a Pan That Palette contender. This is the That's Taupe palette, and again, it's not been loved very much. The reason this hasn't been loved very much is because I do a Pan That palette every year, and Pan That palette is normally on the more neutral side. So all of these shades would probably have been featured in my Pan That palette, and that obviously is my main focus. It is a shame though, because this palette is beautiful. It has been a Pan That palette contender for a few years in a row now. I'm just waiting for its time, you know? Okay, the first declutter. I've thought about this for a long time. This was in my project level up for level 2, and I hit pan on both of these shades, as you can see. The reason I was keeping hold of this is because I don't have any other greys in my collection, but I have learned that when I'm forced to use this, I do like it, but I would never, ever, ever reach for it of my own accord. So this is the first declutter. Okay, 10 minutes in, and our first declutter, whoop whoop. I told you, don't get your hopes up for this, okay? It is a very, very casual video. Next, this is my newest palette in my collection, and it is tiny. This is the Shall We Makeup Deathless Spirit palette, and it is so beautiful. Look at this. It's such a condensed color story. I love condensed little color stories like this. I think they're so nice. This shade here is the most beautiful duochrome ever. I really want to try more of Shall We Makeup next year because this palette kind of blew me away. Well, the shimmers blew me away. This matte I need to play with a little bit more. It did go a little bit patchy, but so far loving this. Next is my Nabla Cutie Platinum palette. I really want to show this more love as well. Like, it's so sad in a way having a Pan That palette, because it does mean I can't reach for all of these shades as often. I'm doing a lot more eyeshadow panning projects, and I think this would be a really, really nice either project level up palette or Pan Those Eyeshadows palette. I want to, in 2024, have a hand-chosen shade again in my Pan Those Eyeshadows series. I stopped doing that this year for some reason. It just has meant that, like, I don't get as much use on all my palettes across the board, if that makes sense. So in 2024, hand-chosen shade is coming back because this silver would be incredible. This taupe would be, oh my god, so beautiful. This is like a really nice travel palette as well. It would also make a really nice Pan That palette as well, so keeping that. Next are my two little Revolution Lion King palettes. Let's start with the Jungle Princess. To be honest, if this wasn't the Lion King, this would probably be decluttered. This shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade aren't the best. But these two shades, these two like greeny shades in the middle are stunning. This blue shimmer is stunning. And it's the Lion King. Like, I do have a weakness with the Lion King. It's my favorite film in the world. Some of you guys might be a little bit annoyed with that, but I just can't get rid of it. Not yet, anyway. And then this is the Circle of Life palette. This is definitely more up my alley. I think I could probably pan this palette, which would be a really fun pan that palette because it's very, very different. There's not really any true neutrals in here apart from maybe this brown. I just feel like I could really get my teeth sunk into this palette. And yeah, maybe it could be a Project Level Up or a Pan That palette or something in the future. Okay, next is my SheGlam Chromosome palette. And again, this was on the chopping block, to be honest, but these shimmers are something else. Like, honestly, I don't support SheGlam anymore just because of their conditions with their workers. It's like really not great. But the quality of this is sadly really, really good. I won't really promote it much on my channel, but I spent my money on it. So, you know, remember all of this was bought with my own money. So it is harder to just like get rid of things. I don't want to do that unless I know that I will never use it. This colour story is so beautiful. I really do enjoy it. So I'm keeping this. Okay, next we have some Huda Beauty palettes here. And these are the only Huda Beauty palettes that I have tried. I did also have the neon greens, but that was decluttered last year. I've never actually tried her full, like, big palettes, but I actually really do enjoy these. I'm very tempted to declutter this. I didn't think I would, but I think I'm going to. I really like it. It's nice, but it just doesn't shine above anything else. Like, I have these neutrals, I have these greeny shades, so yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of that. I wasn't expecting to do that, but okay. These two are not going anywhere though. I love these. These are like polar opposite palettes, and I find it really funny. They're like sisters, but like one's a bit gothic and one is like pastel. I love both of these. This shade was in a Pan Those Eyeshadows, and so was this one actually, but you can't even tell that it's been used. I have used it 15 times, I promise. These are two palettes, again, I want to get more use out of. I keep saying that. And finally, this is a palette I bought quite recent. Well, no, I got it as a present for my birthday in September. So I won't say I bought it, but I chose it quite recently and I've been loving it. I've done a few looks with this now, and I know I've actually influenced a few of you guys to buy this palette as well. And you guys have absolutely loved this palette just as much as I have. The neutrals, the blues, stunning. Again, pan that palette material right here. I love these blues, so I could probably pan quite a few of them. Maybe in the future, maybe. Okay, so out of that big, massive chunk, I got rid of two. To be honest, one more than I thought I would. I'm okay getting rid of this, I think. I got it in TK Maxx, so it wasn't like full price. I think it's discontinued as well. There's nothing special about this palette. So yeah, it's going. Okay, here we go. This is that little box redone. So let's move on to the next section. Okay, next we have my kind of long and thin palettes. So I think I'm going to get rid of one in here, but let's go through them and let's talk about them. Okay, my Modern Renaissance. I am pre-filming this, so I'm happy to show you the inside of this palette. This is my Pan That palette this year, and as you can see, I have... well, it's looking pretty beaten and bruised, to be honest. It is looking on its last legs. Like, even the outside packaging is awful. It's disgusting. But I love it. I've really fallen in love with this palette this year. I do want to finish it completely, so this will probably roll into 2024 as well with my new Pan That palette. Yeah, hopefully sometime soon I'll be able to completely finish this palette. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades left, which I know is quite a lot, but I'm trying, okay? I'm trying, guys, bear with me. So sticking with ABH, I have 2 more ABH Classic palettes. So first is the Soft Glam palette, and I could probably get rid of this just because it is very, very neutral, but it's a staple. It is such a staple palette. It's such a nice neutral palette. I do really enjoy this. I haven't reached for this too much this year just because, as I said, my Modern Renaissance was my Pan That palette. There are a few overlapping shades. The vibe is quite similar, but I have used this a few times, and again, I really do enjoy it. And I also know that because there are a few overlapping shades, When I finish them in my Modern Renaissance, I will not be left high and dry. I will have some replacements. And next is the Subculture. This is my favourite Anastasia palette. I love this. Like, I really think that the hate on Subculture was not deserved, okay? This is the reformulated version, so I can't talk about the formula, but like the colour story, leave her alone, okay? She's beautiful, she's gorgeous, I love her. All right, another declutter. This is the Revolution Night and Day palette. It's gonna make the screen a little bit dark for a bit, so please ignore that. This is something that I really, really wanted for a long time, and then I just got it out my mind. I didn't think about it, and then I saw it in a discount store, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get it. And like, I didn't need it. It's not good quality. This duochrome's awful. This shimmer's okay. These are just like neutrals. Like, I will not reach for this at all. So this is being decluttered. And finally for this section, I have two P. Louise palettes. So P. Louise is now officially cruelty-free, which is amazing. So here they are. This is what they look like. I'm going to keep both of them. Both of them have super unique shades in them. Like, they're not just blue. They're like bluey grey, and like these are so vibrant and blend so well together. I do seriously love these, and again, you already know what I'm gonna say. I want to get more love on them. This palette was in my project Level Up. It was the first ever palette that I had in that project, and I hit pan in this inner corner shade here, but this palette has not been in any projects yet, so hopefully we will be able to change that. Maybe roll it into a pan those eyeshadows, something like that, because that would be really, really fun. Okay, that's it for this little basket now. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 palettes in here, which is kind of strange. Okay, this is my third very messy basket of eyeshadow palettes, so let's go through these. Okay, this is my Lethal Cosmetics custom palette. I call it the Smoke on the Water palette. I did make this using their like build your own palette tool, and this shade is currently in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. You can see I have 2 pans on 2 of the other shades as well. Again, I want to love this more. Ideally, I would have pan in every single shade in my whole eyeshadow collection. That is the dream, but right now we're working on this shade, and trust me, it is a difficult shade to hit pan on, but I'm loving it. It is so vibrant. I love the mattes in this palette. A few of the shimmers are a bit hit and miss, to be honest, but I still love it. I made it. It's my little baby, so I'm keeping that. Okay, you already know this is not going anywhere. This is my Book of Magic palette. I will rave about this at every given opportunity. You guys are sick to death of hearing about how much I love this palette, I'm sure. I love it, so clearly it's not going anywhere. You can see it's been well loved, so keeping that. Sticking with Beauty Bay, this is my Wilderness palette. And again, it's got a few pans in here. So I have pan in Snow, Ray, and Fossil. This was my Project Level Up Level 3 palette, and I've just fallen in love with it again. I did have the, what is it? The sunset-y kind of palette. Is it the Sunset Horizons? But I did declutter that last year just because it's not really my colour story. I love things like this, like the grungy, cool-toned kind of shades. So yeah, I'm keeping this. Want to get more love on it. But you're not surprised about that. Next is my Odin's Eye Christmas Eve palette. This was recently restocked. Well, I say recently. I'm filming this like mid-November, so it is probably sold out again. But if you did manage to get your hands on this palette, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you love it. I love this as well. When this was restocked, I kind of, I don't know, resurged it in my collection, and I did like 4 looks with this, and I just love them all. These shimmers are just stunning. I adore them. Keeping that. Okay, next is my Juvia's Place Warrior palette. This is what it looks like. It's going to make my screen a little bit strange again for a second, but please ignore that. I don't know if I want to keep this, to be honest. I really do enjoy it, and obviously it looks very, very loved. But I have all of these shades, and it's very, very warm toned. I didn't really realize how warm toned this palette was until I had it in a Project Level Up. I'm really happy that I've got so many pans in this now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pans in this palette. And a part of me thinks, oh, I don't want to declutter it because I've got 5 pans in it. But like, why, like, you know, what? What's the logic in that? It has been loved. I think I am going to part ways with this. Not because it's bad quality, the quality is amazing, but just because I have all of these shades. Yeah, a part of me does want to pan it though, but I think, no, as a pan that palette, I wouldn't enjoy it. So I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, I didn't expect to do that, but I think that's the right decision. And next is a Juvia's Place palette that's definitely not going anywhere. This is the Zulu palette. And you can see I have 3 pans in here. All of these have been in Pan Those Eyeshadows before. And again, I want to hit pan on this teal so badly. Like, this teal has been calling my name, I feel like. So hopefully I'm going to hand choose that shade to go in a Pan Those Eyeshadows very soon. Or maybe I'll roll it into a project level up and get a few more pans in it, because that would also be amazing. So yeah, I love this palette. It's so pigmented. Juvia's Place is just so good. And yeah, I'm going to keep that. That is that basket done. I do have these palettes, which are in my background behind me. And a lot of these are, well, 2 of these are kind of sentimental. I'm going to talk you through them. I don't think I'm going to get rid of anything from here. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, let's start with Bella Pierre. This is my Pan That palette in order. So this is what it looks like so far. I am pre-filming, like I said, so hopefully I've got a lot more progress in this. But I really like this. It's a bit of a challenge. Obviously, I'm working at 1 shade at a time, so it's going to take me a very long time. But I think it's nice to have a big palette with neutral and colour. I really do enjoy this, so I'm going to keep that. Next is my Game of Thrones Urban Decay palette. This is what it looks like. This I very, very rarely use. This was in a Pan Those Eyeshadows quite a while ago, I think last year. But it is 100% a collector's item. I'm currently on the last Game of Thrones book, so I have read 7 books that are like 700 pages long. I've watched the TV series, like I am a massive Game of Thrones fan. So even though I don't use this, like look at that, it's the Iron Throne. It's so cool. Yeah, this is definitely more of a collector's item and I love it. So there we go. And then my 2 Natasha Denona palettes. So these are difficult because I don't actually like these. Let's start with the Mini Star. So I used to say this has really good memories. Now it doesn't have great memories. I bought this on my first holiday away with my ex. I went to live off grid with him and his mates, and it all, like in hindsight, was a bit strange. These 2 shades at the end are not original to this palette. My toner actually leaked in my makeup bag, and this was the only thing that it affected. So I think that's the universe saying something there. Not that I'm bitter, you know. I like the mattes. Now that I've frankened it, I do like it better. This is not original. This is an indie brand shade because the original Blue to Brown was just so awful. But I would like to play around with this. It's just a little bit difficult, again, because I do pan that palette, and this is quite a neutral palette. So I am going to keep this for now. This is a big declutter contender for 2024. I want to know how I feel about this. I want to have a solid opinion of this in the next few months. And this is also one of my newer palettes in my collection. I have been waiting for Natasha Denona to do a blue or even colourful palette that I can afford for a long time. So when this came out, I jumped at the opportunity, and it's fine. It's okay. I've learned that Natasha Denona is not my brand. It's not a brand for me. The shimmers are not good. The mattes are good, fair enough. Like her mattes are really, really beautiful. But her shimmers, I just don't like them. Maybe I've been spoiled and I'm used to indie brand, like, amazingness. But I will keep hold of this just because it is so new. And I think it's a really, really good reference as well. So yeah, I'll keep that as well. And finally, I have my 2 big boys. So I have been waiting for this video to declutter this. This is my W7 Mardi Gras palette. It is a dupe for the Love Tahiti palette, and I am just so done with this palette. I thought the quality was really good when I first started using it, and then I kind of realized it's not. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to be decluttering this finally. It's been living at the back of my drawer, waiting to go. So this is gone. And finally, you know this isn't going anywhere. Don't kid yourself. This is my Carnival XL Pro. You can see I have quite a lot of pans in here. It has been very well loved. And of course, I'm keeping this. I'm keeping this till the day I die. Are you kidding me? I'm keeping this until every single shade has been completely panned. And even then, I'll probably still keep it. Okay, that is everything for this video, guys. I know I didn't declutter much, but I did say, you know, I said at the start, don't expect miracles. These are the palettes that are going, 5 palettes. I think it's a good number. As I said, I've been on a no buy this year, or a very, very strict low buy. So I haven't brought anything into my collection. So obviously that means that my collection is a lot smaller. If I was bringing loads of eyeshadow palettes in, then I would probably declutter a lot more. But these are just palettes that don't strike joy anymore, that just, I'm so over them. It's fine, I can let them go. I'm looking at them now and I'm not feeling any like pang of guilt or sadness, so I'm happy letting these ones go. So please don't get annoyed that this wasn't like a massive declutter. I'm still happy with myself. I've got rid of some like clutter, you know, things that I don't need anymore. So I'm happy with that. So this is it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. I do have a single eyeshadow declutter either coming tomorrow or very, very soon, or it's already gone live. I'm not sure yet. But check out my channel. I decluttered 30% of my single eyeshadow collection. So that's made up for this video, okay? I really went ham on that declutter. So if you're itching for a good declutter, go and watch that one. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you're enjoying Vlogmas, and I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video. Bye bye.